Hey everyone, so today's vlog is going to be a review of Thor, the movie. Saw it last night, which was opening night. Only saw it in 2D because one of the guys I was going with apparently can't see the 3D or something. But it's totally a movie that I would go and see again, especially in either normal 3D or the IMAX 3D. Um, because a couple times I was like, wow, that would probably look really cool in 3D. So I'd like to be able to actually go and see what it's like now. Overall, pretty good movie. Storyline was alright. Um, One problem I had, which I find happens in a lot of movies, um, as I call them minor major characters, they're really not major characters, but they have, for a lesser role, they have a larger part. It was about the Warriors 3. I actually had no idea what any of the three names were for most of the time. Um, they briefly gave their names, but then I missed it, and so they don't mention the names again for a while. So it actually took me, I think, until I got home after the movie, looking up when I wanted to see a couple other of the actors who were in the movie who they played. When I found out the Warriors 3 character names. Um, so I'm not a big comic book nerd, so I didn't know um, the comic version of Thor so much as some of the Norse mythology that I know. Um, I thought the comic version worked differently than what it does, but I guess in a way still was. But I was just thinking the older version where um, it's a human who, once he wielded the hammer, turned into Thor. But in the movie, that wasn't it. He was always the god of thunder. Um, what I really liked the additional scene at the end of the credits, which apparently they also did in Iron Man 2, which I missed even though I own it on DVD. So at some point I'm going to watch it again and look for the scene that apparently introduces the Thor movie. Um, I kind of didn't like some of the ending because that means for the Avengers movie, which is going to be next before any Thor sequel movie, um, it just means there's going to be a part in Avengers where it explains stuff from the end of the movie, which I'm kind of not looking forward to because of how many heroes there are supposed to be. There's what Iron Man, uh, Hawkeye, Thor, Hulk, and okay, so I totally can't remember now. But either way, there's going to be all the time spent on Captain America. He's the fifth, duh. Um, how all of them come to join. But now there's going to be a bit more than I to explain how Thor got back to Earth. Um, so I'm not sure about that, but overall it was a good movie. I would definitely recommend it to people, either comic book fans or just sci-fi fantasy-ish fans. It's still pretty cool. Um, One thing I've heard other people say is they aren't sure about there being a black god. Um, for me personally, I like the actor who played Heimdall, um, who in the movie controls the uh, Bifrost, I believe it was called, which is the bridge between worlds from Asgard. Um, he didn't play really that big of a role, I felt, um, but it's still pretty cool. I like the actor, so I was fine with it. Um, I read on Wikipedia before this to check things out that apparently in the comics, or at least as reasoning for or through the Marvel universe, that um, there's at least being East Asians, I think they said, um, as part of Asgard, so branching out to get a black actor to play a god isn't really that big of a deal. They think it's kind of plausible. Um, I kind of see it more obviously as a whole, trying to include all races in that, which I understand now it kind of has to be done, and so I don't see it as that big of a deal. I kind of understand, yeah, it's a Hollywood thing, whatever. Um, Two actors that I was surprised to hear were in it were Ray Stevenson as Volstagg, who I totally could not recognize. Um, Also, apparently in the comics, he's supposed to be, or at least from the cover art that I saw from one comic, he's supposed to be a lot taller, yet they all seem to be about the same height in the Warriors 3. Um, the other actor was um, Colm Feore, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He's a Canadian actor. He's been in um, one of the first Riddick movie, I believe, as um, the Lord Marshal of the Necromongers. I never actually saw the Riddick movie, so I think that's what it was, just going off by Wikipedia and IMDb. Um, he played, I believe it was, um, the king of the Frost Giants, so he was more just the voice for the CGI character. But he's an actor as well as with Ray Stevenson that I really like, so um, I enjoyed watching it. Um, Chris Hemsworth, I believe it is, that played Thor, did a good job. Um, I'm really glad that at least um, Marvel seems to do, although they'll do obvious love storylines and that, which kind of has to be in any movie nowadays. They don't usually have big long sex scenes or anything, which to me in a comic book based movie just doesn't necessarily go with it. Although if it did work for a movie, kind of like how in Iron Man 1 he ends up taking the reporter home, and although you don't see anything, it's implied obviously in that, but it was well done because that's kind of the old Tony Stark character idea. Um, so yeah, I give Thor, the God of Thunder, 2 thumbs up. So you guys should check it out. And when I see it in 3D, I will let you guys know. Exit Trove of Darkness.